pain in breastfeeding is always a red flag. Breastfeeding should never be painful.
When mothers tell to their daughters or daughter-in-laws that we will help you in the breastfeeding journey, and when they are not able to help properly and the breastfeed is not happening, then say तुम्हारी ही गलती होगी.
I think 99% of the cases, mother starts blaming themselves only. मेरा issue है, I'm not able to do it. But I have seen many of the cases, actually the baby is not able to do it.
The statement is position of the breastfeed is not good for baby.
That's a myth. That is the most comfortable position, and I think every mother should learn how to feed in that position. And the best thing which you can do is let your baby eat with the hands. Don't stop your baby. This is what is going to help your baby to establish a positive relationship with the food. Just tell you a very funny incident. One person asked, my child takes a lot of time to eat. I want my child to finish the food in 15 minutes. The principal asked, then why do you want your child to finish the food in 15 minutes? I want to give only 15 minutes of screen time. That's why I want the child to finish the food in 15 minutes only. The child is not eating anything, then what is the child doing? Child having milk, 1 liter of milk in a day. Cow's milk, the animal milk has a protein which is very difficult to digest for the child.
Father का role कैसे रहता है इसमें? मतलब if wife is breastfeeding, so how husband can help her in this journey? When a woman becomes mother, a new mother, breastfeeding से related बहुत सारी queries होती हैं, और जब बच्चा सॉलिड्स के लिए रेडी हो जाता है तब भी बहुत सारे एडवाइजेज होते हैं, सजेशंस मिलते हैं कि ये खिलाओ, ये मत खिलाओ, एंड इट कन्फ्यूजेज मोर. सो आज ये कन्फ्यूजन दूर करने आ रही हैं हमारी आज की गेस्ट. शी इज़ अ लैक्टेशन एक्सपर्ट, अ सर्टिफाइड चाइल्ड न्यूट्रिशनिस्ट और एंड अ पेरेंटिंग कोच फ्रॉम लास्ट 7 years. She has recently won one award from Kids Top Press of famous influencer in education field. So let's not wait further. But before that, I would request all of you to subscribe the channel so that you should not miss any information. So let's not wait further. Grab your green smoothie and get comfortable. And please welcome our today's guest, Mrs. Prachi Kathuria. Hello Prachi, welcome to the channel Talk with Supermoms.
Hi Swati, it's my pleasure to be here and I'm really excited to take our discussion forward.
It's our pleasure too. We are
Absolutely.
also very excited
Yeah.
because this topic is very much important because new mothers इतना confuse हो जाते हैं breast feeding से related, और जब solid start होता है तो उसके वो myths break करना बहुत ज़रूरी है और एक expert की advice बहुत ज़रूरी है.
Absolutely, and I think I am honored that you have invited me. I can do my bit to spread awareness and I am very excited for the session.
So आज हम जो session करेंगे उसमें 0 years से लेकर और when the baby is ready for the solid 2 years तक का cover करेंगे.
Absolutely.
So जब बेबी होता है तो ब्रेस्ट फीडिंग स्टार्ट होता है, तो उसमें कोई डिफरेंस होता है ब्रेस्ट फीडिंग में नॉर्मल डिलीवरी और सी सेक्शन डिलीवरी में?
नो, नॉट एब्सोल्युटली. सो क्या होता है, बहुत सारे मिथ्स हैं इससे रिलेटेड भी. तो एक चीज़ टू ऑल द मदर्स जो हमको सुनेंगी, यू नो, वेदर यू हैव अ वेजाइनल डिलीवरी और वेदर यू हैव अ सी सेक, दैट इज़ अ सर्जिकल वन, यू कैन ब्रेस्ट फीड. ऐसा नहीं है कि आपके कोई चैलेंजेस होंगे जिसमें आप अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम हम सुनते हैं दैट अगर आपका सी सेक डिलीवरी है तो आप ब्रेस्ट फीड नहीं कर पाएंगे या फिर यू विल हैव अ लॉट ऑफ चैलेंजेस. इफ़ यू हैव अ प्रॉपर गाइडेंस, प्रॉपर सपोर्ट एंड यू आर वेल एजुकेटेड कि मुझे करना क्या है. देखो, चैलेंजेस तो हर केस में आ सकते हैं, बट अगर आपको पता है क्या राइट चीज़ है आपको करनी है एंड यू आर वेल प्रिपेयर्ड, यू हैव गुड सपोर्ट, यू कैन गो अहेड एंड हैव अ सक्सेसफुल ब्रेस्ट फीडिंग जर्नी. बट बहुत बार ऐसा होता है दैट एज यू आस्क्ड, यू नो, सी सेक डिलीवरीज में ऐसा होता है कि कभी कभी बिकॉज इट्स अ सर्जिकल प्रोसीजर, मदर इज अंडर सो मच ऑफ स्ट्रेस, एनवायरमेंट जैसा होना चाहिए वैसा नहीं है, एंड देन
फिजिकल बॉडी भी थोड़ा सा उतना सपोर्टिव नहीं होती.
एब्सोल्युटली. तो इन सब जो आसपास के सर्कमस्टांसेस हैं, बिकॉज ऑफ दैट समटाइम्स देयर इज अ डिलेड onset of milk production, so which we call as the first stage of, you know, when the milk starts flowing out. Sometimes that can be delayed by 12 to, let us suppose, maybe 42 hours sometimes. So in that case, that is the time when, you know, mothers are being cajoled that, oh, your milk is not coming out, and that can stress them a lot. So people who are listening to us, they should keep this in mind that these are just normal challenges which might might be there, but you take proper guidance from the lactation expert in the hospitals. That's why I always say preparation is very important. So whenever you are planning your pregnancy and when you are in that pregnant stage, you should talk to your gynecologist that these are my breastfeeding goals, and see, I want to breastfeed my child and I want your help, whether I have a vaginal delivery or whether I have a C-sec delivery. So yes, you can breastfeed. There are no such things which like prove or tells us that no, there would be difference in any kind of delivery mode can affect your breastfeeding success.
Okay. Good that you cleared. और सी सेक्शन में अच्छा आपने बता दिया कि कुछ आर्ट्स लगते हैं तो
yes.
मदर्स क्या पैनिक नहीं होंगी.
Yes.
अदरवाइज फैमिली और ये वो अगर मिल्क इज नॉट प्रोड्यूसिंग, so they can be panicked.
Absolutely.
कि अब next क्या होगा, what will happen, and they lose hope also sometimes.
True.
So good that you told कि sometimes it happens, so they can also see that it can be normal also.
Yes.
Milk produce होगा after C-section, maybe few hours.
Yeah, and actually what happens is, Swati, that you are given anesthesia. So when a medication goes inside your body, it can interfere with your hormones initially, and as the effect of that anesthesia will go away, gradually your body will settle down. And to be very precise on this, every mother should know that whenever you are pregnant, the milk production starts in 16 weeks of pregnancy. So milk is already there inside your mammary gland, so you don't need to worry about it that there is no milk. It's just that it's not coming out, it's not flowing out because of certain stress. It will flow out gradually.
So as we discussed, अगर किसी को लो मिल्क सप्लाई है, so उसके लिए कोई मेडिसिन लेना चाहिए या we should wait or we should try something?
Yeah, so if there is a low milk supply, so then there has to be a reason which needs to be addressed. अगर हम सिर्फ ये सोचते हैं, which is most of the time thought, right, हमारा किसी मदर का लो मिल्क सप्लाई होता है तो जनरली शी इज बीन एडवाइज्ड आप ये मेडिकेशन ले लो, आप ये पाउडर ले लो, ये ग्रैन्यूल्स ले लो, एंड योर मिल्क प्रोडक्शन विल इंक्रीज. बट व्हाट इज द रीजन बिकॉज ऑफ विच द मिल्क सप्लाई केम डाउन? और एक्चुअल मिल्क सप्लाई लो है या सिर्फ एक परसीव्ड नोशन है, बिकॉज इट इज इन माई माइंड दैट आई हैव अ लो मिल्क सप्लाई, और बिकॉज द पीपल अराउंड मी आर टेलिंग मी दैट द मिल्क सप्लाई इज लो. सो फर्स्ट वर्क on the reason. Most of the times it is perceived, the mother starts thinking, and it's a vicious cycle. What happens if the child is not latching deeply? Okay, so then what happens? The milk is not coming out of the mammary glands from your breast. The proper extraction of milk is not happening. Now the milk which is getting formed inside and not coming out is giving an indication to the brain that the milk might not be needed by the mother. That's why the milk production starts going down. So it's like a cycle which keeps on going on. So we need to address the issue. So if a mother is feeling that she has a low milk supply, number one thing is just visit a lactation expert, get your feeding session assessed, whether you are doing it rightly, the position which you are following, the way the child is suckling onto the breast, are all these fine? If that is fine, then we need to address the other things, like maybe mother is under some stress because of which the milk supply is being affected, and what kind of hydration levels are there, whether she is keeping herself hydrated or not, then we need to address those things. But to be very, very honest, please don't take any medicines by yourself. There are certain medications. In few of the cases, it has to be prescribed. It might be indicated, but only a gynecologist can prescribe the medicine.
Okay.
And these medicines can have their own effects. So just by listening to people and just seeing ads on Instagram or on various social medias that okay, you'll take this thing and it will just increase your milk supply in 28 days, that is not going to happen till the time you address the cause. That will make you more demotivated, like I am
मैंने सब करके देख
सब कर रहे हैं, then also it is not happening. और at the end of the day आपको पता ही नहीं है what is the real reason because of which. And I have seen this in 99% of the cases, mother starts blaming themselves only. मेरा इशू है, आई एम नॉट एबल टू डू इट. बट आई हैव सीन मेनी ऑफ द केसेस एक्चुअली द बेबी इज नॉट एबल टू डू इट. सो दोज इश्यूज आर नॉट एड्रेस्ड.
That is also the case.
एब्सोल्युटली. बट अगर आपको एक क्विक क्राइटेरिया रखना है अपने माइंड में, तो अगर आप ब्रेस्ट फीड कर रहे हो, इफ़ यू आर एक्सक्लूसिवली ब्रेस्ट फीडिंग मॉम, और you have to just take care of few things. Number one, if your baby is passing urine, adequate amount of urine, which is like 6 times more than six times or more than 6 times in 24 hours, adequate poop the child is passing, and the weight gain is good as per your pediatrician, and you are having a comfortable breastfeeding journey, you are having no pain, everything is fine, then you don't need to worry, you are making sufficient amount of milk.
So this pain, if it happens, this is normal or what can
No.
be done?
So pain in breastfeeding is always a red flag. Breastfeeding should never be painful. A lot of time people will tell you, "अरे थोड़ा सा pain है, you know, you have to bear
सबको
it."
होता है.
सबको होता है. No, there has to be. Initially, Swati, maybe first week may, you know, if the mother is also learning, sometimes she's not comfortable in sitting, there's pain, associated pain also, so she might have pain, but it should go away after first or second week. If it is sustaining after that, and you know, in every session she's feeling a pain, I know a lot of time mothers come to me and say that I sometimes fear that, oh, the breastfeeding session is going to start and now I will feel that pain. So, you know, and they just wait, when will the session get free? So if you're having such kind of feelings and it is a continuous pain which is happening in all sessions, then definitely there is a issue which needs to be addressed and you should visit your lactation expert.
Yes, pain should be addressed. Then only, it's a long journey, right? Breastfeeding,
Absolutely.
months journey.
True.
If you are feeling pain and if you are not relaxed with that, then how you will go for days and days?
Absolutely. So well said, you know. Abhi to aap manage kar loge, then as the time will go, you'll feel like, let me, you know, this is one of the common reason why mothers decide to stop breastfeeding. I can understand, I can relate to them. You cannot do something in pain, you know, how will you enjoy it? You can't do that.
So many myths or facts are there. So I will ask some statements and you
Absolutely.
tell me myth or fact. So it
Absolutely.
will help new mothers definitely.
Absolutely.
So first is, if during breastfeed, if mother drinks more water, so the milk also becomes watery. Myth or fact?
No, it's a myth. I have heard this a lot. Though hydration is very important because 89% of the breast milk is water only. So breast milk is nothing, but it is filtered blood. Okay, so water has to be there. So it's not the milk which we drink in our house, the cow's milk. It is the filtered blood which comes out of the mammary glands, out of the breast. But no, if you drink more water, it is good for you, for your hydration. It will help you in more milk production. So drink as per your thirst. It should not be like you're not feeling thirsty and then people are forcing you to drink and you are drinking so much. That should not be the case. But it is generally advised that number of sessions you are breastfeeding or pumping, as those many times you should keep on drinking, you know. So it will keep you hydrated. You will feel much better. And whenever, even I say, when you are breastfeeding the child, I'm sure you must have also experienced, while breastfeeding only sometimes we start sweating. We feel very dehydrated, you know. So these are the indications of your body that you have to drink water, but the water is not going to dilute your milk or make it watery. No, this is just a myth.
In the same way, if during breastfeed, if a mother drinks milk, it produces more milk.
No, that's also a myth. A lot of people say drink a lot of milk, it will help you make more milk. This is not going to happen. You just have, you drink milk, that is good for your health. But I have seen in many of the cases, on the other hand, moms end up drinking liters of milk, and sometimes they have gas issues, you know. Their body is not able to tolerate that much milk. So drink whatever you are drinking, like whatever you were drinking in your pregnancy, and usually whatever you drink, just continue with that amount of milk. You don't need to add some extra milk to increase your milk production. Only thing which can increase your milk production, or you can work on your milk production, is your baby suckling onto the breast nicely and deeply.
More breastfeed,
Yes.
more it will produce.
Yes, that is the only thing. Okay, that is all demand and supply. Eating, drinking doesn't affect much. Yeah.
Okay, so it's a myth.
Yeah.
So next is, if a breastfeeding mother eats curd, the baby will catch cough and cold.
No, that's again a myth. One thing I want people to understand, that whatever you are eating, it's not going directly into your mammary glands, you know. It goes inside your stomach, a lot of digestion happens, and then all the nutrients and important minerals are extracted out of that, and that goes into the blood, and then it comes into the breast, and then the baby drinks it. So no, if the mother wants to have curd, is a great prebiotic, okay? Homemade curd, especially yogurts, it can actually help in balancing a lot of bacteria inside mother's gut, you know, which gets disturbed often.
Yes.
And it can really help the mother also. So I think she should take curd. It's a great source of calcium and even rich in many other minerals and vitamins. So whether she is having curd or not doesn't make a difference. The cold cough happens because of viral infections, not because of what you eat. And in babies, you know, in kids also, this is a very common myth. Like, so no,
Yeah.
the
very
the mother
common.
can have, not a
So
problem.
same way goes with the spicy food also.
Yeah.
If mother eats spicy food, like baby's tummy can get upset. This is also you
Yeah,
can clear.
absolutely. It's also a myth, you know, that everything is moderation is fine. If the mother likes to have a spicy food, she can have. But I have seen in my practice, and it has come from a lot of mothers only, that you should avoid a lot of spices. Like if it is very very spicy, sometimes it can affect your stomach, and you might have gut issues. Then more than the child, I feel mothers
will be
have
having.
issue, and if the mothers have issue, then indirectly you will start seeing those in the children also. She can have spicy food, but it should be in moderation. Yeah, a lot of spicy, it has been reported that if the mother is having a lot of spicy food, they might see sometimes the child getting little irritated. There are some stomach issues, but as such we don't have any studies on that, okay,
Okay.
which proves that. It is all anecdotal data which keeps on coming. So if you feel, let us suppose, to all the mothers, if you feel that I'm taking something, and it is making my gut upset and my child is not feeling well by the evening generally, so you can avoid those food like for few days, but then keep on having them, because at the end of the day we want our child should be comfortable with each and everything.
Yes.
Right? And it has been said that a mother should eat variety of food while she is breastfeeding, because the child get taste of everything, and the child is well prepared to accept foods when the child turns 6 months. Okay,
Oh.
so have variety of things, but yeah, spices in moderation.
Okay, great. Sideline position. Many mothers tries in the night.
Yeah.
For their comfort.
Yeah.
So statement is sideline position of the breastfeed is not good for baby.
Yeah, that's a myth. That is the most comfortable position, and I think every mother should learn how to feed in that position. Initially, it might not be easy for the mother to feed in that position, like initial few weeks, because the baby is so tiny, mother is still learning. But there are a lot of myths associated with this, that don't do sideline position. It can cause ear infection. It can
I've
cause,
also heard.
some nose issues, respiratory issues. But all these are myths. If you try to think, whenever you are holding the baby and feeding the baby is just near to you, tilted towards you, and while you are lying in sideline position also, baby is in the same position only. So it's a very good position. A lot of people might tell you that certain things might happen, but all those are myths. So please learn it
But
and be
when we
comfortable.
hold, baby's head is little bit up. But when the sideline position, they say कि baby is fully lying.
No, so actually, when you are feeding the baby, ideally, you don't have to lift up the baby's head. I know mothers are generally comfortable in certain positions, and there is no perfect position. Every mother can change according to their comfort. But ideally, when the baby is completely towards you, the baby's face is facing towards the breast, and the baby's tummy is towards your tummy. So ideally, the baby should be in one line when the baby is aligned towards the mother's chest. Okay, that is what we propose. And similar way, when the baby is lying down also, the baby is in straight position. Doesn't make a lot of difference. The baby has to deeply latch onto the breast. That is the main thing. It is not, so if the baby is latching deeply onto the breast, how the milk is going to come out. Okay, and also I tell you, whenever there is a great mechanism, whenever the child is sucking onto the breast, when the child is suckling continuously, actively, then only the milk comes out of the breast. Even if the baby sleeps onto the breast and the baby is not suckling properly or deeply, the milk is not going to flow out. Okay, so a lot of time this is a concern, that my baby might sleep holding the breast in sideline position, and there might be some issues associated. No, but yeah, one of the points which I feel needs to be addressed, which is mostly said by the pediatricians. They are worried that while the baby is sleeping and the mother also sleeps with the baby, so that might not, something might not happen, like we have pillows around or things like that, which can, just come onto the baby and can cause SIDS, that is sudden infant death syndrome. So that is one criteria. Whenever you are doing side lying position, the surface should be hard, okay? It should not be a very soft bed or
Okay.
mattresses so that the baby goes inside. And you should not have a lot of things around. And you know, generally, we always say only when the baby is sleeping, you should not have a lot of things around, lot of pillows, lot of towels or swaddles. The baby should sleep, nothing should be around. Like whatever are our sleep protocols, we have to sleep protocols, we have to follow them. So similarly, you follow while you are doing side lying position, but it is one of the best position, and you can feed baby for a longer period of time. You don't need to get up again and again and feed the
For
baby.
midnight, this is very
Absolutely,
good position
absolutely.
for mothers.
So if you're comfortable, follow it. If you're not comfortable, not a problem. Follow whatever position you want to follow.
Okay. So last statement is baby is burp related. So if sometimes baby doesn't burp, so it's a problem.
No, that's not a problem. So if your baby is latching deeply, taking the breastfeeds very nicely, sometimes they might not burp also. There is no need to burp also, because what is burping? Whenever the child ingests a lot of air, and that disturbs the baby, right? It makes the baby uncomfortable, and that's why we try to hold the baby in upright position and different positions so that the air comes out.
Yes.
The baby releases that air. So let us suppose if the baby has sucked very nicely, there has been no air ingestion. Why you will hear that sound?
Yeah.
So if the baby is exclusively breastfeeding baby, latching nicely, you just hold the baby in upright position for few minutes also. That will solve the purpose. But in the initial days, it has been recommended that after every feeding sessions, you should hold the baby in upright position for 10 to 12 minutes. That is just to settle out things. It's not that you have to hear that sound, of burping. I see parents not hearing that, and they are trying to burp the baby for 30 minutes.
So long.
Yeah, so don't exert yourself. And let us suppose if you have tried burping and baby didn't burp and baby is uncomfortable, baby will show the signs, they will start moving, they will show some signs, they won't be comfortable while sleeping. But if your baby has slept nicely, you were holding the baby in upright position for a few minutes, now baby is comfortable, slept, you don't need to wake up the baby again and again to burp it. So don't exert yourself. Yeah.
So sometimes baby can burp, or sometimes
Absolutely
not also.
normal, not a problem. Sometimes they might want to burp 2-3 times also. I have seen, if the latching was not perfect, and especially in bottle feed babies, they ingest a lot of air, so burping is required. You should burp them.
Okay. So this is the end of the myth and fact session.
Okay.
So thank you so much for answering and clearing the myths.
Always happy to do that.
So next is after breastfeeding, like mother has to go for work, some mother has to go for work, and they try to save their milk, breast milk. So what is the best way to save that milk so that it can be useful, best way for the baby?
So if you are planning to join back the office, I would always recommend that you should get into the routine at least 15 days before. So you can meet with a lactation expert and discuss the schedule of pumping, how you would be pumping, at what times you would be pumping, what are the office timings. So it makes a lot of difference, because for every mother, timings can be different. Some may be outside the house for 6 hours, some may be for 8 hours, and some can work from home only.
Some can be traveling.
Absolutely. So you need to make a plan that at what times you will be pumping, number one. Number two, you have to make child used to that. So if you are not there, who will be feeding the child? Who is the primary caregiver? How you will be feeding? Whether you can use a cup or an open cup, or you want to use bottles if the caregiver is not comfortable with the cup. So all these things should be worked on. Once you start pumping, you have to keep one thing in mind, that if you were exclusively breastfeeding the child and suddenly you will start pumping, the milk will not start flowing, right? Because pumping has a different mechanism. So you need to do it for certain days in a certain manner, and you have to follow a kind of plan. Then only you will get settled into a situation where you will be producing good amount of milk for your child. And also when you are pumping the milk out, it has to be stored properly.
Yes.
So whenever you are pumping the milk at room temperature, you can store it for 4 hours, and inside the refrigerator you can store it for 4 days. And if you are freezing it, you are, let us suppose, maintaining a stash, that okay, I'm going to join by my office after 1 month and I will start pumping now. So you can maintain a stash. So that can stay nicely up to 6 months. Okay. So it's better that you meet someone according to your needs and how many times your child would need the feed when you are not available. Accordingly, there can be some kind of calculation which can be done and amount of milk can be stored. But one important thing, please start doing it before. Don't do that. I have to join back office after 3 days and today you are starting pumping and you are thinking, you'll be able to collect milk for that. No. Little preparation is very, very important.
So what is the best container suggested in which it should be stored?
So as per the recommendations, you can use a glass container, you can use a steel container, you can also use a BPA free plastic container. There is no issue with that if it is a BPA free. But I personally recommend you can use a steel container, a good container, you can keep it inside the refrigerator and you can keep on adding milk to it. So you can collect the milk over a period of 24 hours. You don't need to keep separate containers.
Okay, that's great.
So one full 24-hour cycle, you can store the milk in one container and then after 24 hours, you need to have a new container. Also there, nowadays we have those milk bags, small pouches in which also you can store. Because sometimes I feel if you are maintaining a stash, if there is not much space, you can use bags also to store milk.
Okay, thank you for covering this topic deeply.
Yeah.
As a lactation expert, bottles, what is your suggestion regarding the bottles? Because bottles have different opinions. Somebody says don't give the bottles to the kid or the infant, or somebody say like it's easy for mothers also.
See, that really depends upon the mother's choice. As a lactation consultant, I would always give mother all the choices. That is my job. I have to guide them. So as per the recommendations, the mother should exclusively breastfeed the child for 6 months. Okay. Direct breastfeeding has a lot of advantages, and whenever the mother is directly breastfeeding, actually a lot of time we feel that bottle feeding might be very easy, but then for that you have to express the milk, then you have to sterilize. There's a lot of procedure which goes behind that. Okay. So that is, and direct feeding you can do anywhere. If you are traveling also, you don't need to carry the entire thing along with you, the sterilizer, the bottles and the pump, everything. But yes, if there is a challenge and if the mother is unable to breastfeed, or there is a need of giving expressed milk or whatsoever, then I would always discuss other alternates with the mother. Like you can use a cup to feed the baby. There are, and steel cups you can use. We have nifty cups. You can use all these methods to feed the baby. Still, if it is not working for them, definitely, if they feel that they want to go with the bottles, they can do. But it's better to discuss the advantages and disadvantages of bottle feeding and then take an informed decision. We are not here to judge anyone. If they are not able to do, obviously they will choose. But then if you are doing it, you should know what are the disadvantages, till what time you can bottle feed, and after what time you should start weaning it off. Otherwise, it will start affecting the oral development of the child. It can affect the health of the teeth. Being a dentist, I am very close to this thing also. Like, I always make sure that I explain them that, whenever the child bottle feeds, it's very important for you to clean the teeth properly. Once the teeth are erupted, mostly after 8 or 9 months of age. So yes, if you are planning to do bottle feeding also, make sure that you know what are the disadvantages of it. But if you plan to do breastfeeding, in case you have to give express milk, then please first discuss the other options with the lactation expert.
फादर का रोल कैसे रहता है इसमें? मतलब लेट्स टेक हस्बैंड एंड वाइफ. इफ वाइफ इज ब्रेस्ट फीडिंग, सो हाउ हस्बैंड कैन हेल्प हर इन दिस जर्नी?
I feel partner plays a extremely important role, and the time where we are living in today's generation, if you want to have a successful breastfeeding journey, successful parenting journey, you need support from your partner. It's very, very important. So most of the times I encourage all the partners to attend the ANC sessions, which are antenatal classes with the mother, so that they understand what kind of challenges a breastfeeding mom can face and how they can support. Sometimes you don't know only how you can support.
Yes.
And then suddenly when it comes up, you are just like, you don't know. And especially we have elders who haven't taken much help from their partners, so that's why they won't be able to tell you, and sometimes they might discourage you also.
Correct.
What is your role in that? You go to work. But as a partner, I think the biggest support can be just being along with your wife, with the mother. That is very, very important. Your presence can make a lot of difference. If you are by their side while the mother is feeding at night, I know you cannot feed the baby, but once the mother has fed the baby, you can hold the baby, you can burp the baby, you can change the nappies, you can, let us suppose if the mother is expressing, you can just give little massage to the mother because she'll get so tired.
Yes.
Okay, those small breaks can really help the mother. If the mother is feeding and the father is taking care of the child, making the child sleep, and mother gets that 1 hour to sleep, then that can make a lot of difference. Also, protecting the mother and baby diet from a lot of unsolicited advices.
Yes.
I think that is one of the most important role of the partner. Again, your relatives might say something else. We have already discussed so many myths. So just to keep your partner calm and make her understand that don't get affected by all all these things. Also talking to other people, also helping her to get the correct advice at the correct time. A lot of times people don't believe that you should take help for lactation. That is a fact. You're at home only, they will keep on giving you a lot of advices.
Mother-in-laws, mothers will tell, okay, we will only
Yes.
guide you.
Yes. So at this time, there should be someone who should be by your side and who should tell you that, okay, fine, let's go. Let's meet a doctor.
Yes.
Let's meet a professional who can help us. So yes, their role is extremely important throughout the journey. And I've seen mothers having a better and a successful breastfeeding journey if they have their partner by their side. So yes, to all the fathers, you have to be by the side of your partners, and new moms, they need a lot of support.
Yes, you said it very correctly. I have also seen, like, when mothers tell to their daughters or daughter-in-laws that we will help you in the breastfeeding journey, and when they are not able to help properly and the breastfeed is not happening, then say तुम्हारी ही गलती होगी, it's not coming for you. But they don't know that they didn't properly help initially, and now it's problem for the mother.
True.
So this happens.
True.
That definitely the expert advice is needed in this case. Even fathers also, even the husbands, fathers, they also need some guidance.
Yeah.
Like you said, then only they will be able to help.
Absolutely. And sometimes they don't know how to hold the baby. As simple as that. They might be a little scared. Everybody is scared of doing that. So if they learn it, how to burp the baby, there are so many techniques. So if you'll go, they'll learn. And a lot of time I have seen fathers helping mothers to position the baby correctly. So when I take lactation sessions, I feel really happy when they come along with the mothers. And also it makes me very proud when actually nowadays fathers have started coming up for ANC classes, which are like when antenatal classes where we talk about breastfeeding. So I think it's their responsibility. Breastfeeding is not only mother's responsibility, it's everyone's responsibility. Yes. So it's very, very important that everyone should participate and do their bit. That is very important.
That's great. That's great advice that you have given. Let's move forward from the breastfeed to the starting the solid for the baby.
Absolutely.
So when the baby becomes 6 months, that is suggested to start the solid. So there are many tools available. Spoon feeder bottles and fruit nibblers and sippers. So are these tools helpful for the mother in this journey?
Yeah, so whenever the child is ready for accepting the food, mostly around 6 months of age, using all these things like fruit nibblers, spout cups, or these can interfere with the oral development if we just think about the kind of mechanism these things work on. So if you are using a spoon, the feeder with the spoon, mostly you will be giving purees into it or liquid fluid into it. And if you see, the child would be mostly sucking. And when the child is from 6 to 9 months, we want them to learn all the skills. We want them to use their muscles, all the things inside the mouth to best of their capacity, so they learn how to chew, various movements of their tongue. Everything should participate. But we have seen that equipments like tools like spoon feeders interfere with that. Secondly, coming to nibblers also. The child will not get the proper texture of the food. You will just keep on putting the
Only
food
juice
inside. The child can just chew it, can get the juice of it, can get a little flavor of it, but what is the actual texture? So I think we are interfering with the chewing skills of the child here, and later on we can face an issue where child might not be chewing properly because child was not using the muscles and the tongue properly at this time. A lot of sensory motor development happens at this time, that also gets interfered. Similarly with spout cups also, there's more of sucking like happens in the bottle.
Okay,
They
yes.
are not properly putting the exact pressure which has to be put. So the best thing, if you want to use to introduce water or liquid things at this time, mostly water is the only thing which should be given in the liquid form till 12 months. No other liquids.
Oh, okay.
All fruits and vegetables should be given. So on thick purees should be given. So you can use open cups and straw cups. These are the best one which should be used. You can always give babies, you can use pre-spoons, silicone spoons, and whenever you are starting, you have to make sure that whatever spoons you are getting, the baby is able to grasp it properly. Initially the baby would be using the entire palm to grasp the fruits, vegetables, food, whatever you are giving, and similarly the spoon also. So you should get something which has wide handles. You can take that. Nowadays lot of silicone based plates are available, and it is not important that you have to invest only. You can also use normal steel plates at your home also. And the best thing which you can do is let your baby eat with the hands. That the sensory exploration which the fingers can give to the food, nothing can be better than that. Let your baby touch the food, let your baby mess with it, let the baby put the food into the mouth, throw it, whatever the baby is doing. Don't stop your baby. This is what is going to help your baby to establish a positive relationship with the food. But yes, if you want to introduce spoons and forks, you can do it gradually. There's no harm in doing that. There might be certain things you feel the baby is not eating, let us suppose a porridge or a khichdi with the
with
hands.
hands.
So you might be facing little difficulty. You can give them pre-spoons and small spoons, silicone spoons. Initially you can introduce silicone spoons or wooden spoons, and gradually as the baby grows and the baby gets comfortable, mostly after 1 year or maybe 15 months, you can switch to steel spoons. Initially I feel giving steel spoons might be little issue, a little might cause little issue, because baby might not be very comfortable and they might hurt themselves. So you can start with these spoons and gradually you can shift to. So your aim should be that after 12 months you have to shift entirely to your kitchen food, whatever you are eating, the
whatever.
child should eat that only. And from 6 months to 12 months, you can offer everything except for salt and sugar. You don't have to include salt and sugar in the food. And also take care of the consistency of the food you are giving. Don't give a lot of liquids or stews, because we want baby to chew. You can always start with purees. Whatever weaning method you want. You want traditional weaning, you want baby-led weaning, that's your choice. You follow it. But give a lot of chance to your baby to explore the food. Like then only they will learn how to self-feed and they'll become more comfortable with the food.
So, can this be the reason that tools, yes, you said fruit nibbler and all, can this be the reason later that some babies chew very slowly, they keep the food in the mouth? Is this related?
It can be one of the reasons. If the child is being not given so much of opportunities to chew in the initial months when the food was introduced, that can definitely lead to, if you are giving only purees and if the child is actually not getting a lot of texture to explore, then how will the muscles will start working? Actually, chewing is also a skill which the child learns.
Yes.
It is not that they know how to do it, they learn it as they turn 6 months. Before that, they were suckling, right? They were just drinking milk. So a lot of things change. They have tongue thrust initially, which helps them protect while they are breastfeeding. Okay. Gradually it goes away. When they turn 6 months, gradually the tongue thrust goes away and they start accepting the food. So initially you will see when the child is eating food, they will start throwing it.
Correct.
That's normal. It gradually goes away around 7 months, 8 months. But if you will not give them enough chance, then how will they learn? So yes, this can be one of the reasons. There can be many other reasons also, like a lot of forceful feeding, right? A similar kind of feeding pattern, same things being given again and again. Distraction feeding is one of the most common cause where we see that the kids are not chewing properly because they are not conscious only. They are just distracted by a screen or a television or might be by something else, and they start putting the food inside their mouth. They don't focus on the food, that how to chew them. Sometimes there is not much modeling also. I always tell that sometimes kids don't know what to do with the food. Sometimes they don't understand. So you actually have to show them how to pick up the food, put it inside the mouth, chew nicely. You have to model it. Also, if parents are not doing that in front of the child, they are mostly distracted, and they are seeing TVs or screens, and they are just making the child eat quickly, not giving enough time to the child. That can be one of the reasons. Then sometimes there might be some sensory motor issues also, which needs to be addressed. Might be the child is everything is right, but still it is not working. Then a good assessment by a pediatric dentist and a feeding therapist is extremely important to understand. Maybe their reflexes are not working properly. We need to just work on them. There are different things than we do. And the last thing, maybe the child is not hungry. So yes, the child is full and we are putting the food into the mouth. Then what they will do, if they will not chew, they will start collecting it. So food pocketing, this is known as food pocketing also, we see very often, and it needs to be addressed. So please talk to someone. There are a lot of reasons which we have discussed. We need to find out what can be the most common reason which is affecting your child, and then accordingly we can work on that.
Yes, nicely explained. So, when the kid starts the solid, what should be the first meal of the day? It should be the breastfeed, or we should make something for them?
So, whenever the child is breastfeeding, so from 6 to 8 months, it's always whenever the child gets up, you should breastfeed your child. We should not bring the child to the table hungry, because this is the time when they want to explore new things. They are not comfortable with the food right now. We are giving them a lot of variety, new foods every day. So breastfeed the child. The child should be content and happy, and then you can have a break of 30-40 minutes, and then you should introduce the food. Even after eating the food, let us suppose child had 2-3 bites only, and after that, if the child is asking for milk again, it's okay. You can give breast milk. Don't feel that now because we have introduced solids, we have to stop breastfeeding. No, breastfeeding remains the primary source of nutrition till 1 year. You don't have to replace the breastfeeding sessions. You just have to add the solids. And trust me, if you will continue doing both the things, the child will get more comfortable with the food also and will continue breastfeeding also. But whenever you start replacing the breast milk sessions, childs become irritated. They want breast milk. They are used to drinking it.
That will slowly go.
Yes, that will slowly go away. Gradually, you will wean off the sessions as the child grows, but don't replace it. So whenever child gets up, first you breastfeed, and then after 30 minutes, 40 minutes, you can introduce the breakfast to the child. And after having the breakfast, let us suppose even if the child asks for milk again, you can breastfeed. Breastfeeding is not going to interfere with the introducing of solids, but yeah, very important to give a lot of textures as we have talked. Let them eat, let them explore, give them full control. That is important.
Okay. So breastfeeding should be on demand, or it should be by clock?
No, breastfeeding should be on demand. Initially, whenever the baby is born, whenever you will go to, whenever you will get discharged, a lot of time doctors will tell you feed your baby every 2 hours.
2 hours,
right?
yes.
Because they just want to tell you a lot of time. What happens is you have to think from a perspective of a professional also, that parents don't understand the cues initially, like whether my child is hungry or not, what are the signs. So it takes time for them to understand this.
When he is hungry.
Yes. So that's why they tell you feed every 2 hours. And generally we have seen that babies tend to get up after 2.5 hours initially. And this is generally they ask to follow till the time the baby achieves the birth weight. Okay, that is mostly around day 15, day 14. Okay, but then after that, it should always be demand feeding. Whenever your child is showing signs of hunger, you feed the child. It should not be that you have to just look at the clock, okay, I have to feed my child for 15 minutes and then every 2 hours I have to feed. No, the child might want to sleep for, let us suppose, 4 hours. That's absolutely fine. And there might be cases where I have seen after 3 months, the baby starts sleeping throughout the night. There are some babies who start sleeping. And then on the other hand, there are babies who wakes up every 2 hours. So every child is different. It is absolutely fine if you are feeding every 2 hours or you are feeding after 3 hours. That is perfectly fine. But you have to follow the cues of the child, and also make sure that you keep all things at the back of your mind for first 6 months, that urine output, stool output, and the weight gain of the child. And after 6 months also, on demand, whenever the child asks for milk, you give, and you don't have to stick. Okay, because once the solid is introduced, child might not be asking for some feeds. They might skip 1 or 2 feeds in the afternoon later on. And I've also seen, on the other hand, they might start asking for more feeds also, because they feel something new is happening. And when the solids is introduced, sometimes their gut gets upset. They have sometimes constipation issues, so they might want more milk.
Yeah, they want that
Everything is-
soothing feeling.
Yeah, so absolutely fine. In all the ways, breast milk is going to help them settle down, so you can feed them.
So you are saying it should be by demand.
Yes.
So, but how new mothers can find out, like when baby is crying, it's because of hunger or because of some other reason? How they can find out this?
So if we are talking about new mothers, let us suppose from 0 to 2 months, 3 months, if the child is crying, I understand it is very difficult to understand why the child is crying because they cannot communicate. That's why we always tell them to breastfeed because that is the best way to pacify. But now let us suppose you've already breastfed your child and still the child is crying, not getting calmed down, then you have to look at other reasons. Maybe you need to change the diaper. So I always tell them that your list should be prepared in your mind. What all things you can do. It can be because, so you have to do all the things. Nothing can tell you that this is the
Yeah,
thing which is
priority
happening.
wise, like you said,
Yeah.
first try to feed.
Yeah.
Then
Not getting
check
settled.
diapers.
Yes, check diapers. Then you see maybe it is because of the temperature, which is maybe the child is feeling cold or hot, okay? Or maybe the child just wants to be near to you. अब वो थक गए हैं लेटे लेटे सोए सोए बेड पे, अब वो चाहते हैं कि आप
हो
उनको
सकता है।
उठाएं अपने पास लाएं. They need that touch. That can be the one of the reasons. So you have to do all the things at that time, but mostly we have seen that if you breastfeed the child they get calm, but still if they are not getting calm, don't keep on feeding them also. Overfeeding is also not good. If the child is crying, you feed the child. That is also not right. You need to see other things also. Try to hold the baby. The best thing new moms can do is practice skin to skin. Just keep the child close to you. If nothing is working, breastfeeding is also not working, they will get a sense of touch. They will feel your heartbeat. They know that is the right habitat for them and they will calm down. And if you feel you are very stressed at that time, take help from others. It's okay. Sometimes we are not in that condition to pacify the baby because we are so stressed at that time. You can ask your partner, your family members, just take the child for a stroll, take the child outside, and child might calm down. But if such episodes are happening a lot, then please meet your pediatrician also. There might be some gas issues or some underlying illness which might be bothering the baby. So don't ignore it.
I hope this will help the new mothers. When we start the solids, there are many foods which is create confusion. We should give this or we should not give. So when eggs should be introduced to the kids?
Okay, as per the recommendations, you can introduce the egg at 6 months of age. It's a great source of protein and you can introduce at 6 months. You can introduce both the parts, the egg white and the egg yolk, and just let your child explore it. You can offer it in different ways. You can offer boiled egg, you can offer scrambled eggs. The only thing is if you want your child to feed themselves, it should be given in such a way that the child can hold it. Like we were discussing, like a finger food, you can give it to the child. And also, if you are following traditional feeding, you can give puree also. Not a problem, you can give that also. But we have to keep one thing in mind, that egg is an allergen. So you have to look for the signs of allergy. Some kids might have, some babies might have allergy to it. So you have to look for the signs. So whenever you introduce it, observe your baby for one day. Initially, if the child is allergic to it, you will see some signs in another few hours or maybe in one day. But then if there are no signs, keep on giving your child. It's a great source and it can be introduced at 6 months. And it has been said, earlier there was a confusion. A lot of doctors used to say don't introduce allergens, introduce them after 1 year. But as per the new recommendations, we have seen studies which says that as early the allergens are introduced, the babies have less chances of being allergic to them. So yes, eggs can be introduced. Start adding. You can start by adding 2 to 3 times in a week, and then gradually as the baby grows, if the baby has started accepting it later ages, we also say like you can add 1 egg daily also, not a problem when this child grows up and start accepting it.
Yeah, it's a great finger food if the kid is not allergic.
Yeah, and also for lot of other things, weight gain, immunity of the child, it can contribute in a lot of things. So we always say increase the density of the food. So you can make it a part of a plate in whatever way you can. Sometimes you give boiled eggs, sometimes you can just chop it, add to rice, or sometimes you can add it to pancakes. So a lot of things it can be used, and you can start from 6 months. No need to wait. Yeah.
So same as curd also. So can we give this to 6 months old baby?
Yes, curd is a great probiotic. Try to make it at home. That is very good if you can make it at home, because if you make it at home, it has a live bacteria in it, and that really helps the child's gut. So, and curd is also a great source of calcium, and then it also helps in immunity with the gut microbiome. It can be introduced from 6 months onwards, and I feel the babies actually like it. It's a great acceptance and a lot of food. You can add so many things to curd when you are giving. You can add veggies, you can add fruits, seeds, so many things can be added to it. I think it is a good medium to give a lot of things to the child. So yes, absolutely, curd is something which can be introduced at 6 months, and you must introduce it at 6 months, and you can give it in different forms and add different flavors to it, because the child will, that's a way when the child will get used to a lot of things. So yes, curd can be introduced at 6 months. Don't stop yourself. It is not going to cause any cold and cough in your child. Yes, you can give it at room temperature. If you are worried that your child will get, you give it at room temperature to the child. Sometimes if the child is having a lot of cough, a lot of cold, your doctors might ask you not to give. Then what I say, if you can put some tadka to it. Just put a tadka of turmeric and mustard seeds and curry leaves, and just make it like that, and you give it to the child. It is also a food which I feel child accepts a lot when they are ill, so they actually like taking it, and you can give it from 6 months onwards. Yes.
And kids love curd sometimes.
Yeah.
Many kids like
One
it.
bowl of curd daily is good to give it to them. It's great for their gut, and overall also it's very good. It provides a lot of nutrition.
Bread can be introduced to kids, like that bread, not roti.
Yes, we can introduce breads to babies. As per the recommendations, you can introduce at 6 months. But what I feel is, whenever the bread is being made, it has a component of sugar and salt. So I generally advise people wait till 9 months, and then you can introduce. But if you see the recommendations by American Association of Pediatrics and Indian Association, it is written that you can introduce at 6 months. But just make sure either you are making bread at home, but if you are getting it from outside, it should be whole wheat flour bread. Read the labels nicely, because if it's written it's a wheat bread, you are not 100% sure until and unless you read the labels. They might write wheat, but there is refined flour into it. So introduced whole wheat flour bread, that is very, very important. I see a lot of kids accepting bread really nicely. They accept a lot of things along with breads. If you give a lot of spreads of beans, hummus, and you put a lot of veggies into it, sometimes when they are not eating anything, they accept it amazingly. So you can give the breads like in moderation. You don't have to give it every day, because it is something which is you are taking from outside. If you can make at home, nothing better than that. I cannot make them. I've tried a lot, पर मुझसे नहीं बनता घर पर. But if you can learn ways to make at home, nothing better than that. But if you want to buy from outside, just read the labels before buying, and definitely go ahead and give it to your baby. No issues in that. You can give a lot of ways you can give the bread. Milk breads, you can make it with milk. You can make cutlets, and it can be a good binding agent also. If you have to make different kind of cutlets, it can be a great binding agent in those things. You can spread a lot of things. You can make sandwiches. So yes.
So I have also read somewhere that brown bread that they write. So that is also not wheat bread every time. Brown is different. Wheat is, and whole wheat, as you said.
Yes.
We should definitely check the label.
Yes, very important. That is very, very important, that you should go also check the sodium levels. It should not be very high. Sometimes it's written, just read what are the sodium levels per slice of bread. So I know we don't have that much of time, but see, you have to do this research once only. Once you find the right bread, you have to order the same bread only. And nowadays I have seen these home bakers also coming. They also make breads at home. I think you can go and talk to them also that these are your requirements, and I want like this. I remember when I had introduced biscuits to my son after 1 year, I wanted some biscuits which should be made of wheat flour and dates powder, and there should be no jaggery or anything else. Then I tried finding out this bakery, and they were supportive. They said, you get all your things, we'll make it. Right? Though it will not come out exactly what you get in the market, but then you can do that thing also. And nowadays a lot of brands are coming up also. You do some research and you'll find out good brands coming out, homegrown brands, which provides a lot of things which can be given to your children.
Yes. Many kids develop constipation also
Yeah.
when the solids are started. So
Yeah.
what should be given in that case?
Yeah. So constipation is something which we see very often because when the child starts eating solid, the system changes. Sometimes they are not able to digest. Sometimes they are not chewing properly. So that is one of the reasons which you will face. So don't worry a lot about it. The first thing is keep on giving a lot of fiber, lot of fruits, lot of vegetables to the child. Keep the child hydrated with breast milk, and you can also give few sips of water after every meal. That is important.
Okay.
But just try to work on the reason also. Like sometimes I have seen that the child is introduced to a lot of other food items also, like biscuits, chips sometimes. Those should not be there, okay? I'm talking about kids after 1 year of age here, okay? So that can also cause constipation. Number two, are you trying a lot to toilet train your child? Is something like that happening, which can also cause constipation? Or after 1 year, we have seen child drinking a lot of cow's milk. So much milk is being given to the child that leads to constipation actually. So what will happen when you will ask for the child is not eating anything, then what is
Give
the
them
child
milk.
doing? Child having milk, 1 liter of milk in a day. So actually cow's milk, the animal milk, has a protein which is very difficult to digest for the child, and that can lead to constipation. So address all the issues. It is very important that if you feel it is becoming like for a lot of days it is continuously happening that the child is constipated for 1 or 2 days, that's okay. Maybe the child has eaten something which the child is not able to digest. Keep on breastfeeding the child, okay? You don't need to do something. You can engage the child in a lot of physical activities. That is again very important. Give tummy massage to the child. I'm talking about smaller babies, and for the till 2 years also you can do all these things. You can give some warm sponge onto the tummy. Do some tummy exercises and massages. First, you do all these things and see if it gets relieved. And then, still, if it is not happening, you can always try to add some foods in the diet which can help in the bowel movement. So, all these foods which can help in symptomatically relief in constipation, you can start adding. So to just understand, you can start adding all the fruits which start from P, like papaya, you can add pineapple, you can add peach, you can add plum, you can add prunes, and all the vegetables from B, like broccoli, beans, bottle gourd. So all these things help in the gut movement. They act as actually natural laxatives which helps in the movement, bowel movement, and the baby starts passing poop, okay? And then you can add oats to the diet of the child. You can add figs, soaked raisins. These are very important, which you can add on daily basis also. You can, if you feel your child has this constipation, you can start adding all these things. You can add amylase rich flours. So amylase rich flour you can make at home also, but nowadays it is available in the markets also, like sprouted ragi, sprouted jowar, or whatever you are making dals for the child. Try to soak them overnight. This is something also which helps them, which is very helpful, and it can also prevent all these things. Pear is also one good thing which you can add to the diet. So all these things you can add. It's not that you have to add all the things daily, but every day something you can add. You can offer soaked figs or soaked raisins to your child every day in the morning if you feel your child is constipated. Also keep your child hydrated. After 1 year, generally, now their water requirements increases. Till 12 months, I understand they might not drink a lot of water. Few sips of water are fine, but then after 1 year, make sure that they are drinking water. Number one. You can also give things like, now after 1 year you can introduce coconut water. You can introduce
after 1 year we should
yes,
do, not before.
not before that. Before that you give tender coconut to the child. No, because we have seen a lot of liquids before 1 year replace the meals. We don't want that, okay? So after 1 year, you can introduce coconut water, buttermilk, all this. Before that, curd is a good source, and tender coconut. Also, no juices, fresh juices also not before 1 year.
Oh, okay.
Only fruits in their form, like you can give steamed fruits, or if the child like steamed apple, steamed pear, all the fruits steamed, But fruits like mangoes, watermelons, that you can just give like that also, because child would be able to chew that. But juices you can introduce after 1 year, that also in moderation. It should not be
Yes.
that we are giving a lot of juices.
juices.
In moderation. That is very important. But you can introduce after 1 year.
Okay, okay. So now let's move ahead. We talked about the breastfeeding, then starting the solids. Now the baby is, suppose he or she is 1 year. So now parents are worried about the weight gain in the child. So for the weight gain, what kind of food should be given?
A lot of time this issue comes when the child turns 1 year, because what happens from 6 to 12 months the child gains a lot of weight. Okay, but after 1 year the child comes into a stage where now the child wants to explore everything. This is the time when
Roaming
they start
also.
Yes, this is the time when they start walking also, and their attention span is so less that they won't sit at one. So one thing parents need to understand, that the child is not going to gain a lot of weight from 1 to in the second year of life. They might gain only 2 kgs throughout the year, and that is absolutely normal, because at this time another kind of development is happening inside the body. So one thing which can really help them, I always tell them, please go to your pediatrician and get a growth chart plotted, so that your mind is not always tense that whether my child is gaining weight or not, because the weight gain doesn't depend upon the age of the child. It also depends what was the birth weight of the child.
Okay.
If your child was born at this weight, then at 2 years, this is the range of weight which should happen. And also we plot some kind of curves. If the child is following a curve, positive curve, good to go, no problems. Child achieving all milestones, active child, we are not worried about weight gain a lot. But then if there is some issue into that, if the child is not following a curve, it's like a child has reached a stage where it's a flat curve, then we need to address. There might be some other issues. No, there can be many other issues. Like, let us suppose constipation we just discussed. Maybe the child is not eating properly only because of certain issues, and that's why the child is not gaining weight. Now, even if you will start adding weight gaining foods or any other things, the child might not gain weight again. Also, you have to make sure that the child has a positive relationship with the food. Child is eating nicely. There is no distraction feeding happening. But then, still, everything going fine. If you still want to make I would like to take it as a thing where we can say, instead of weight gaining food, if you want to make the meals more nutrient dense, that is also one of the good aspects, then definitely you can add a lot of things to it. I would want you to add a lot of healthy fats. Nuts and seeds is something you should start introducing by 6 months itself. Nuts and seeds powder is something which you can add to the meals, which can really help. Then it is very important, you can start adding a lot of healthy fats like ghee. Whenever you are making food, you can add ghee to it. Give your child a lot of grains, all kind of grains. You should introduce millets, different varieties. It's not that we are sticking to wheat only. If you are giving rice, you are giving wheat, you are suji, then you should give millets also. All millets can also really help in adding a lot of density to the food. Ragi, jowar, little millet, all things you should start adding to your child's diet. Lot of veggies, very important. Then you can add other foods which can help, like sweet potatoes, sweet corn, bananas, avocados. All these are foods which can help in increasing the density of the food, which can actually help in weight gain also. Eggs, then very important. Dairy products like curd, milk, you should add. After 1 year, you can give cow's milk to the child. All these things you can add to your child. Then whenever you are making something, make sure how I can add lots of colors. More colors, more nutrition is anyways helping the child to gain more weight. So likewise, try to give balanced meal to your child which has all components. That is really going to help the child to gain weight. But still, if it is not working, you are trying everything, I think one assessment is very, very important. Sometimes there might be other issues, there might be some deficiencies which needs to be addressed, and maybe the child is actually not eating properly. We talked about sensory motor issues, so those should also be addressed.
Okay. So sometimes kids take so much time to finish the food. Between 1 to 2 year age, and sometimes they complete very fast.
Yeah.
So should parents be worried about that? Like, they should tell them, eat fast. Why are you taking? What is the ideal time to finish the good food?
So see, if the child is eating by themselves and even if they are eating slowly and but they are chewing nicely properly, don't put a lot of pressure on them. Let them do at their own pace. Ideally 25 to 30 minutes is a good time.
Okay.
Whatever the child is able to eat in that time, good. After that, if the child is not showing interest in the food, you should not run behind the child. Just remove the food out of the table. Or don't be like, I made 2 idlis for you, तुमको खत्म करना ही करना है. You know, a lot of time mothers are actually attached also with this thing that अरे इतना मेहनत करके बच्चे के लिए खाना बनाया and the child is not eating anything now. That hurts a lot, okay? But then I always tell parents, remember 2 things. What is the division, which is known as division of responsibility? आपका काम क्या है? Your work is to make food for your child. At what time you have to make, what to make, and where to serve. That is your job. Now, whether to eat or not and how much to eat, that is the child's responsibility. So you don't decide it for the child. आपको उनको freedom देना पड़ेगा. अगर आप उनको ये control नहीं दोगे, you will not give them control to decide how much to eat and how to eat. Anyway you are going to face any kind of problems, you know. And trust me, we are living in a time where we all are giving so much, we are taking so much of stress and giving so much importance to, you know, child not eating that that has started affecting our children actually. We take so much of stress, and then it comes on our face, and that it gets transmitted to our kids also. And there is so much of negativity around it that actually I have seen children started feeling that हाँ मैं खाना नहीं खाता शायद because मेरे parents पूरा दिन कहते रहते हैं ये तो खाना ही नहीं खाता. So labeling is something which we really need to stop, which we all are doing. You know, we all are doing this. And secondly, don't extend your meal sessions a lot. Like if the child is eating properly, धीरे धीरे भी खा रहे हैं, उनको आप 2 टाइम पूरा खाने के लिए उनके सर पे खड़े होकर, I know we don't have time, sometimes we have to go out, we have our work, and we want कि चलो हमारे सामने खा लिया तो at least हमको पता रहेगा कि खा लिया है. I know we are also facing a lot of challenges, but don't just tell them. So I just tell you a very funny incident. I went for a school session in my son's school, and there one person asked that my child takes a lot of time to eat. Okay, so the principal was addressing the question, and he said, why? Okay, so what do you do then? Said, I want my child to finish the food in 15 minutes. The principal asked, then why do you want your child to finish the food in 15 minutes? It's okay if the child is finishing is in 20 minutes. Said, I want to give only 15 minutes of screen time. That's why I want the child to finish the food in 15 minutes only. So we all just bursted into laughter that first wrong thing is distraction anyways. And then on top of it, if the child is eating by themselves, let them at least do that. You have to control on that also. So sometimes as parents also, we are doing a lot of wrong things. So we have to work on that also, so that we can help our children to establish a positive relationship with food. So definitely for this question, I think 25 minutes, 30 minutes is a good time. Still, if your child wants to eat, make sure they are chewing it properly. They are just not putting the food like we discussed in the initial part. They are not just putting the food into their mouth. So give attention to all the things, but please don't keep hovering over them. Just eat your food and let them eat their food. That should be the
I think very different perspective you have shown in this answer.
Yeah.
Many kids roam and eat.
Yes.
घूम के खाना जिसको बोलते हैं. So how parents can manage it?
I know sometimes it happens, especially when they are in this toddlerhood. Their attention span is very less. They cannot sit on tables, and I think after 5-10 minutes only they will start running here and there. So a lot of time, this is a kind of conditioning also which happens. What happens when the child starts running, we start running behind the child with the plate. चलो या नहीं खा रहा तो बालकनी में जाके एक बाइट खा लेगा, और किचन में अगर जा रहा है, खेल रहा है, वो अभी खेल ही रहा है और हम उनके मुंह में बाइट्स डालते रहते हैं without seeing whether they are opening mouth or not. And actually they get used to this also, that they want to eat like this also. I understand. So the best way is, if high chairs are something which you can introduce to the child, where the child can sit. You introduce early, at 6 months only you introduce it, so that the child knows that the child has to sit. Secondly, modeling. You, even if the child is running around, you don't run behind the child. You sit at your place, you finish your food. Let the food be in the vicinity. If the child wants to come back, eat the
Child
food.
should come to the food.
Come to the food, eating food, going back, coming again. That is fine. I understand. Because we cannot forcefully make them sit. We don't want them to cry and shout.
Sometimes in toddler age, they want to explore.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and if there are a lot of distractions around, then also they will go, run away. But you don't run behind them. That is my only thing. You sit at your place so that at least they observe that, okay, my parents are sitting at one place, finishing their food, and then only they are getting up. Whatever they will observe, they will learn. But if we all start running behind them, then it's good for them now. They are eating food also, they are playing also. But the relationship is getting disturbed. They're actually not touching the food, they are not smelling it, they are not feeling the texture of it, they might not be chewing it properly, they might be just swallowing it. They are not realizing because they're actually distracted towards something else. So one thing which can really help is put timers. So whenever the child is sitting onto the high chair, you can put some timers and you can explain it to your child. Okay, you just have to sit for 10 minutes. As soon as the timer will ring, then you can go.
That's a good
So within
idea.
that 10 minutes, whatever the child can eat calmly. Second thing is lot of engagement at the table. Why can't we engage with the child? Child needs engagement, they need entertainment. So engage at the table. Talk to the child. Get into the food things. You can ask the child, what is the white color food in your plate, what is the red color food? Okay, do you want me to serve, or would you like to give a bite to mama? Would you serve? Okay, would you like to have idli, or would you like to have dosa? Give them choices, okay, and engage them in the food which is on the table. Talk to them. They need your attention. And maybe if the child thinks that I am running, then only I am getting attention, the child will do that. I know it's not easy, but just try to work on certain things, on your behavior, on certain things, so that you will start seeing difference. And still, if it is not happening, it's okay. If the child wants to run, let them run. If you've already tried for 20 minutes, child is not eating, stop the session. That feeding session can be stopped there and offer again after 2 hours or after 1.5 hours. And a lot of time I have seen that children come back and they ask for food if they are hungry.
Whatever habit we put them, they accordingly adjust their routine.
Absolutely. So the food can be in the vicinity, but please don't run behind them. Okay, and don't scold them also, but keep on telling them. Narrate them a lot of stories. What is the importance of eating together? Let us sit at one place and make the food so interesting so that they sit there and they have their entire attention onto it. And don't force them or don't start bribing them or giving them any kind of punishment.
Relationship between like toddler and the food relationship should be there. So sometimes toddlers skip the meal also.
Yeah.
Sometimes they sleep and they don't eat. Then parents उनको उठा के भी खाना खिलाते हैं, जबरदस्ती नींद से उठा के खाना खिलाते हैं. तो is that correct way, or we should let them be?
Let them be. They a lot of time they might skip meals, and that's okay. If they are having 2 good meals in a day, that is good enough. But let us suppose if now they have slept and they have skipped 1 or 2 meals, don't make them eat forcefully. Maybe they don't want. And there are some days when they might eat less. There are some days when they might eat more. Also, how their body is growing, what kind of growth development is happening inside. They might be undergoing some growth spurts which requires a lot of sleep on that day, and they end up sleeping because they were tired, and now we are waking them up and feeding them. No, I feel that even if they are skipping 1 meal, that's okay. Sometimes that's okay. But if it's a regular affair, they are not eating their lunch at all, they are not eating their breakfast or dinner, and it has become a continuous affair every day, then you need to see what are all things which are happening. I've seen children who sleep very late at night, they don't feel like eating breakfast in the morning because their sleep is not properly happened. And then also they might have taken dinner very late at night, proper digestion has not happened. So sometimes they might not take their breakfast properly.
Or maybe late breakfast.
Yeah, and then the entire routine will get disturbed. Also, I have seen a lot of time that they had their breakfast and they had little things, and now the mother has to give the snack or the lunch. But in between, a lot of grazing is happening. Some biscuit, somebody is giving 1 slice of apple, and then at the mealtime they want to skip now because they are not hungry actually, and the mother will start thinking why the child is not eating. But that is why the entire family should be on one page.
Yes.
It should not be that a lot of grazing is happening throughout the day. That is also one of the common reasons they want to skip the meals. Or sometimes they're actually not hungry. They might have eaten something somewhere else. So try to talk to them. That's
So with adults also this sometimes happen. Na? Sometimes we also skip meals. Sometimes like we don't
Yeah.
want to eat this meal. Dinner we don't want to eat.
Yeah, we are not feeling nice. Sometimes we are feeling gassy, or maybe we don't feel like eating, and we have food preferences also sometimes. I don't like certain food, which is okay for all the parents, kids. If we have this habit and we also have preferences, and I'm sure we all have, there are certain vegetables we don't like, though we want to eat everything we like eating, but there are some preferences. Sometimes you will go into the kitchen and you'll see, okay, today this is the food you might like. Okay, instead of eating 2 chapatis today, I'll eat 1 chapati only. Now what do parents do is, अरे नहीं कल तो 2 चपाती खाया था, आज क्यों नहीं खाया? Okay, ऐसा हो सकता है कि आपके बच्चे को ब्रिंजल का सब्जी या फिर whatever you had made नहीं अच्छा लगा वो ज़्यादा, and today they decided to have 1 roti only, or maybe 1 idli only because of some reason. So no force feeding. It's just an occasional affair. It's okay, not a problem.
So milk obsession in India. As you said कि 1 year से before तो breast milk है.
Yes.
That outside milk we should not give. But between 1 to 2 year we have to introduce. We can introduce milk, but
Yes.
as we see in India, milk obsession होता है कि milk नहीं पिया तो बहुत बड़ा काम, बड़ा हो गया काम.
Yes.
So what do you suggest on that?
Indians, we all have certain kind of attachment with the milk. I feel because we feel if milk is not given to the child,
Something
the
is
meal is
missing.
not completed, right? But to understand, milk is only a part of meal. It's not the entire meal. We always say that if we have a balanced meal, then milk is a part of it. So what we try to do is we try to replace the entire meal with the milk, and we feel अच्छा खाना नहीं खाया तो दूध पी ले, right? There is a certain kind of obsession because I feel everybody is attached to we actually pray. We pray the cow, we pray to them, the kind of milk they give us. That is why that is kind of, there are certain things which are associated with that. All our sweets, we use milk. So it is very difficult to take it out of our culture. But then it is good to introduce milk. There is no harm in it. It's a great source of protein and a lot of essential vitamins. But if your child is not liking it, if the child is not accepting it, don't forcefully give it, or don't start adding a lot of sugar to it so that your child ends up drinking it. You will be causing more harm to it. And also, if your child is not eating, don't feel if my child has taken 1 glass of milk, it's okay if my child skips the lunch. No. What other nutrition, from where other nutrients will come, from other macronutrients, from where it will come. So don't be so obsessed with the milk, because kids take time to accept milk, especially when you introduce at 1 year. A lot of kids don't accept it. My son started accepting milk when he was 3.5 years old. So there are a lot of kids who will not accept it because the taste is so different. They were used to having breast milk, and now suddenly cow's milk has come. The taste is absolutely different. So don't force them. Keep on introducing in little amount, and if they are not having, it's not the end of the world. You can give other dairy products. You can give curd, you can give paneer, you can give cheese, you can give yogurt, you can give other sources of calcium. You can introduce ragi. That's such a nice food which can be introduced. You can introduce green leafy vegetables. Sesame seeds is a great source of calcium again. Eggs you can give. So start adding other things if you feel. Don't feel that if my child is not drinking milk, my child would be deficient in everything. Don't feel like that. But yes, you can keep on trying to add milk in other forms. You can add smoothies. Sometimes if the child is not accepting it, you can add smoothies. You can add fruits, and you can make smoothies, shakes. You can give it to the child. But yes, don't add a lot of sugar to it just because your child will drink it. Then a lot of sugar will cause a lot of harm to your child. Then more than the benefits, we are causing harm. So that is one of the things. But don't worry if the child is not having. Keep on offering in different ways. Gradually they start accepting, I have seen. But still, if they are not accepting, don't worry. You always try to replace that by other things. Start adding a lot of density to the meals, as we have discussed. Start working on other sources of protein, other sources of calcium, other sources of other micronutrients and minerals which are important for the child. So I think if you are giving balanced meal to a child which has all the components, which has fruits, vegetables, which has grains, which has protein, which is very, very important, and then calcium, then you're sorted. Not a problem.
Okay. So if milk should be given, which milk do you suggest?
So, at 1 year of age, it is suggested that cow's milk should be introduced. Full fat milk you can introduce, because the child need a lot of calories at that time, and we have to give good amount of food, good amount of nutrition to them. So full fat milk should be introduced. Nowadays, also gradually, as the child grows, you can shift to the other milks also, which are available in the market. Like we have toned milk, which is available. But if you feel that your child is not eating well sometimes, so you need to go back to your pediatrician and understand whether you should shift to the toned milk or not, or whether you should continue with the full fat milk.
Okay.
They generally, like for our population, for adults, it is not suggested that we should take full fat milk.
Yes, for
It is
kids
suggested,
it is
yeah.
good.
So we should take, like for adults, it is said as per the recommendations, we should take toned milk. We should take semi-toned or toned milk. But for kids, you should introduce full fat milk. Also, the paneer which you are making, the curd which you are making, the ghee which you are making at home, you should use full fat milk to make them. Yeah. But keep the check on the quantity. For 1 to 2 years, it should not extend. The entire consumption of dairy in the entire day should not go above 400 to 500 ml, which includes milk also,
Curd
also, paneer also. So once you start exceeding, so now if you are giving 1 liter of milk to your child, definitely the child won't eat anything or
Yes.
might have constipation issues. Yeah.
Okay. And Chawanprash is also there. So Chawanprash, I want to ask, that should be given to kids between 1 to 2 years?
I think no, because it has a lot of sugar. Even if it has jaggery, no, it should not be given, because as per the recommendations, till 2 years, no sugar at all.
Till 2 years?
Yes, as per the new, it should be nothing. No jaggery also, no honey also. Yeah, if you want to add flavors to the different foods, then you can definitely add fruits, purees. Dates powder is something which can sweeten up. You can have dates powder. We need to understand that a lot of time people might say add jaggery, but jaggery also is sugar only. That is a new debate which is going everywhere. We need to understand that ऐसा नहीं सोचना कि चलो मैं तो jaggery दे रही हूँ रोज 2 spoons क्या हो जाएगा. No, that should not be done, because jaggery also is a kind of sugar only. So it should not be introduced between 1 to 2 years. But yeah, if you want to make something at your home, I see a lot of people making this immunity balls at home using some amla powder, dates powder, adding ginger to it, turmeric to it. These all things you can make at home and give to your child, where to sweeten it up, you can definitely add dates powder.
Immunity के लिए दिया जाता
Yes,
है.
yes, yes.
So if you are giving other things, you can give
After
from
2 years you can see, but also after 2 years, whenever you want to buy something, there are a lot of things which have come up in the market. So try to read the labels again before buying. We have Amla Prash which has come up nowadays. Many brands are making it, so you can have a look at that. You know what are the components, and I think they use jaggery instead of refined sugar. Though jaggery is also a sugar, but at least less amount of sugar is better if you are giving it daily, because you will be giving full scoop of 1 spoon of it. So we need to take care of the amount of sugar also going inside the body. But yes, if it is helping your child, just talk to your pediatrician once before starting anything, because these things are also made up of a lot of herbs. I feel a lot of things goes inside it. So read it properly, discuss with your pediatrician. Sometimes your child might be allergic to certain things.
Yeah,
So just by seeing it, don't give it. Just consult your pediatrician once. If they say that you can go ahead and give it, go ahead and give it.
So, but it should be given, then 1 spoon is enough in a day.
Depends actually. Read the label, because it's always mentioned there.
According to the age
and the
also,
weight of the
quantity
child,
is
it is always mentioned there. So go through the labels properly, talk to your pediatrician, and then introduce.
Okay. As we already discussed little bit about the immunity food. So to increase the immunity, what food should be given? Because these days kids get so much cough and cold very frequently.
Absolutely. Also, to work on the immunity, balanced diet is very important, which we are discussing. Also make sure that your child is engaging in a lot of physical activity, and also your child is sleeping well. These are another two aspects which are not addressed most of the times. We always start thinking, let us give this, let us give that, but sometimes we see that the child is not engaging in a lot of physical activities. Child is always at home sitting, just engaging, or maybe into screens or into some toys, and not going out interacting with other people. That social interaction is also important to maintain the immunity, and also sleep is important. But yes, to work on the immunity of the child, we can always, balanced diet is important, which has a component of proteins, fruits, vegetables. But yes, we can add certain foods which have which provide certain kind of nutrients which can fuel up the immune cells in our body, which can help in gut immunity. So yes, you can definitely add foods like amla, vitamin C, which provides, it's a great thing. So I feel every house amla should be a part of their daily diet. So either you have it in a form of achar or chutney, or you make amla powder and put it in your dals. It is something which you can add every day, and it can really help your child. You can add citrus fruits, all oranges also, which everything which is a component of vitamin C. Then you can include eggs, very important, ginger, turmeric. These all things can really help. Then all green leafy vegetables, you can make them part of your diet. All these things when you start including, and then healthy fats like nuts and seeds powder.
Yeah.
I told you ghee is something which is, people say don't include ghee, but ghee is something which, homemade ghees are very, very important. You can add it to your child's diet daily. So these are certain things which can really help your child with the immunity. And also a lot of hydration is very, very important. So make sure that the child is drinking good amount of water every day. If the child is not drink water, along with that other components also like buttermilk and coconut water, all these things should be given to the child. So in whole, don't stick that only these things are going to help. Make sure that you are adding, you're serving
whole balanced
balanced diet, and you are serving variety. I understand it is very important. It's very difficult, Swati, to understand, okay, आज में कैल्शियम है, आज में vitamins है, ऐसा करना बहुत मुश्किल है, right? It's very difficult, and you can't follow a lot of meal plans forever. But what you can do is that whenever you are making a meal, make sure that every day something new you are giving. You are not sticking to one vegetable or one fruit every day. Whatever seasonally is available, you don't have to go exotic and get exotic food items. Whatever is seasonally available, fruits and veggies, you can bring them at your home. Try to offer new foods every day, variety of foods. Try to add more colors to the plate. तो जब भी आप किचन में बना रहे हो ना, कि चलो चावल बनाया मैंने, साथ में दाल बनाया, अब इसमें मैं और क्या डाल सकती हूँ? मैं घी डाल सकती हूँ, मैं नट्स एंड सीड पाउडर डाल सकती हूँ, मैं सैलड डाल सकती हूँ साथ में, मैं टोमेटोज रख सकती हूँ, थोड़े से कुकुम्बर्स रख सकती हूँ, मैं साथ में कर्ड रख सकती हूँ. तो आप बस ये सोचो क्या मेरे किचन में अवेलेबल है जो मैं प्लेट में डाल के, अब आगे वो बच्चा खाए ना खाए, इट्स ओके, यू हैव डन योर वर्क. एटलीस्ट दे विल हैव one spoon of everything. So much things, so much nutrition, so much variety. When the child will have a lot of minerals, vitamins, absolutely, the immunity is going to increase.
Yes.
So try to add a lot of colors. That will really help.
Yeah, thank you so much for telling the immunity food for kids.
Yeah.
We have reached almost till end.
Yeah.
So in the end, I will ask the question, like, while preparing the food for the toddlers, what kind of things we should keep in mind?
The most important thing which can be is to make the food nutrient dense. Number two, whenever you are making the food, make sure that try to follow the methods where the nutrition of the food is conserved, right?
Yeah.
Like we say that whenever you're making dals and this, try to soak them before. And try to use sprouted flours like sprouted ragi, sprouted jowar. All these adds to the nutrition. Also try to cook the food in ghee, healthy fats, or you can use sesame oil also. You can use groundnut oil also. And try to add that a lot of veggies. Like if you are making doughs, try to add a lot of veggies to it, so it is nutrient dense. And then whenever you are serving the food, don't fill up the entire plate. The child should not get overwhelmed. Like we get overwhelmed when we go to the wedding. We see a lot of food.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't feel like eating
Yes,
anything.
yes.
But out of love, generally we fill the entire plate with, okay, I have made idli. I will give 4 idli to my child today only. So don't
Try to give कि वापस मांगेगा
मांगे
कि
ना
नहीं, let's give.
अभी से खा ले सारा. So don't fill up the plate so much that the child gets overwhelmed and then they don't feel like eating. Also work on the consistency of the food as per the age of the child while you are cooking. When they are between the age of 6 months to 12 months or 6 to 9 months, you might have started with purees, right? So gradually you shift to lumpy food, then to mashed food, and then to solids. So that is also one of the important thing which you should keep in your mind when you are cooking food, that you have to work on the consistency of the food also. And then try to make it nutrient dense. As we said, add lots of nuts and seeds powder, try to cook it in ghee, and then add lot of colors to it and lot of vegetables to it, so that your child, even if you are whatever child is eating, even if the child is having 4 bites, child is getting enough nutrition. And just don't stress yourself. Also, most important thing, whenever you are cooking, whenever you are serving, just try to practice some affirmations, that you are doing best for your child, and you have a healthy child, and your child is going to eat what is good for your child. The child is going to eat that. And let your child recognize their satiety levels. It's okay if they are not hungry, it's okay, but have peace of mind. Because I have seen mothers so stressed that when you are so stressed and you have only focus on one thing, that my child is not eating, then your relationship with the child also gets disturbed, because you don't spend any quality time with the child, because the entire day you are spending running behind the child and making the child eat
And thinking about the food.
yeah.
Yes.
So try to spend some quality time with the child. Try to understand your child. Make that relationship. Don't lose upon these moments, which generally happens. So yes, these are all things which you keep in your mind, and it's okay. Everybody goes through this phase. Don't stress yourself so much. And if you are stressed, things are not working, ask for help. I think that is something which is very important.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think in the whole podcast you have covered so many points, different aspect also you have told, like this affirmation thing in the end. That is small things, but we miss them in the daily. We are just behind that, like whatever we are seeing na कि चला आ रहा है, we are doing that only.
Yes.
But definitely these subconscious mind में हमारे जो fit हो गया है, we have to change that. We have to read as a parent ourselves also.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much for sharing with us, with our women viewers, mom viewers,
Thank
with
you.
the journey of the lactation and then starting solids and how to feed the toddler.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot, Swati. It was my pleasure to be here. Thank you so
It's
much.
our pleasure too.
Thank you.
Thank you. So if you are a mom who is into breastfeed, or if you are starting the solid, or if you are a toddler mom, don't worry. Consult the expert. If you are breastfeeding, consult the lactation expert. If you are having kids who are in toddler age, or you are starting the solid, consult the child nutritionist. But don't worry. In our podcast, we tried to cover all the topics related to the food from 0 year to 2 years kid. So if you like the podcast, please like कीजिए, comment कीजिए, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.